Hello AP Chemistry and welcome to your quick syllabus video where we're just going to highlight some of the important points. Obviously it is your responsibility to read this document in its entirety. Come to next class period with any questions, anything that's fuzzy or you're not sure about, and we'll go over those things. But like I said, we're just going to highlight some things here, right? Here are my help times. It is quite possible you'll need help during the school year. I strongly recommend you drop by to get your questions answered, right? Super duper important, right? AP Chemistry, everything is cumulative, right? Which means that if there's something that you're stuck on in one chapter, it's never going away. All it's going to do is turn into a bigger and bigger problem the further we go down the road. All right, course materials, these are also listed on Haiku. Quick note here, everyone should have the textbook. Again, like I said, before we started the school year, it doesn't matter if you have the AP edition or just the college edition, either is fine. Obviously you should have a calculator from math class. This is just recommended as a place to keep your WebAssign homework notes. If you don't like the idea of that, that's fine. Chemistry review book, if you go look online, there's a recommendation about maybe getting 2, depending on how you like to review. If you're going to get 2, right, I would recommend that one of them be divided by topics and one of them be divided by big ideas. If as you look at review books you're not sure what that means, feel free to drop by and we can talk about it. All right, why study AP Chemistry? Because it is fascinating, or because you want to be scientifically literate, reasoning, for your resume, but that's not you. All right, things to note. We meet on A-Lab every single A day. Every single A day, okay? Which means that if there's a reception or if there's a meeting, if there's something, you need to tell that sponsor that you're not going to be there because you are coming to AP Chem, okay? With rare exception. So yeah. Like after the AP exam maybe, right? Anyway, it's obviously harder, it moves faster. There are certain parts where there's no calculator, so we do sort of need to refresh our memories on basic math skills. We talk about in Honors Chem how there's homework every day. In AP Chem, I cannot emphasize enough that you really do have to do homework every day, okay? In Honors Chem, it was you ought to do homework every day if you want to stay on top of things and do your best. Now, if you don't do homework every day, it's just going to pile up, right? Meaning that if you decide, Monday through Wednesday, I just don't feel like doing AP Chem homework, that's fine, but do note that you've just added anywhere from 3 to 6 hours of homework to what you're going to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, okay? So please be thoughtful about that. There is a lot of flexibility in the schedule during AP Chemistry, but please be thoughtful about how you use your time. Okay, all right, and like this says here, part of that flexibility, right, is that lecture material is delivered online, so it's your responsibility to watch that in preparation for class, so in class we can do discussions, questions, demos, labs, and practice. So, you know, just be thoughtful. Okay, next up. Here are the topics we'll cover. Some of it is review. We'll cover pretty much all the review topics in the first, chapter or 2, and then we'll hop on to new topics. Tests will be structured like the AP exam, right? By the time you get to the AP exam, you will be super comfortable with the format because everything we do is going to be geared towards preparing you to be successful on the AP Chemistry exam. Okay, diligence. Again, going back to that, doing chemistry every day and actually learning it as we go, right? Because it's cumulative, so if you don't learn it genuinely, then you're just going to have holes in your understanding as we continue, right? So recommended tips, chemistry daily, right? See me for help ASAP, and this one, right? Study groups. For a lot of your assessments, not all of them, but for a lot of them, you will be allowed to work in a small group. And it would be helpful as you work in your small group to think about maybe having like a study group, right? Where it's not just always about meeting to work on a packet, but before the test, maybe you might meet to talk about the topics and make sure everybody understands them, make sure you guys can explain them, right? Take turns explaining problems out loud. There is much to be gained in making sure that you can explain things to somebody else, right? Which is one of those things I'm sure you know, like from language class, right? All right, how will you be evaluated? So in AP Chem, the grading is a little bit different. We don't have time for tests. We don't have time for quizzes, so we just have tests, homework, and labs. where tests, again, are still 50% of your grade, homeworks are 30%, and labs are 20%. Homework is going to include your web assigns, right? And we are going to do an EP every chapter, which is just a free response packet, right? It's just anywhere from 10 up to, 18 free response questions to prepare you for the test, okay? Late work. Some work will be accepted late. You lose 10% per day that it is late on anything that I do accept late, okay? And here are things that are never accepted late. Okay. Attendance, obviously super duper important because, again, going back to the cumulative thing, right? If you miss time, then you're going to have holes in your understanding. So if you're going to miss school, you need to get notes ASAP from a neighbor. You need to read over those notes, right? It doesn't do you any good to write them down and not actually think about what you're writing, right? So write them, read them, and then see me if there is something you don't understand, right? And then we can talk about, well, this connects to this and figure out what it is that you don't understand about the notes, okay? So that way you won't actually be behind. If you're absent on and this is the same as last year, right? So if you're absent on the day of a quiz or test, you will take it the day you return. If you're going to take a long excused absence, see me in advance so we can plan out your work. If you are ill for consecutive days, see me the day you get back so we can talk about your work. If you miss a lab or demo, there's not going to be a makeup day for that. So this is when the notes are even more important, right? Because everybody else would have seen something that ties into the topics we're talking about. So you need to get as the best quality notes you can, and then you need to come see me so we can talk about what you were supposed to see, because a lot of what we do is tying what we see, right, to what's happening at the microscopic level, right? So again, super important. Okay, note that there is no individual extra credit, but there is extra credit all year, so please take advantage of those opportunities as they are presented. Just like last year, your cell phone is not your laptop, so yeah, just be thoughtful about that. Here, also, you will have a lot of class periods where you're allowed to work on your web assigns during class, which means that you have to have your laptop and it has to be able to be used. Like, right, you have to have your charger, or it has to be charged enough to use during class. Honorable expectations, also the same as last year, but just to refresh your memory, right? Tests are independent assignments, right? Web assigns, also independent, right? And this is important because WebAssign is the first go-round in a chapter, right? Which means WebAssign is the place where you master all of the basic skills that you need, right? If you can't do it by yourself, then working in a group is not helpful to you, right? All you're going to do is you are just going to take everybody else's knowledge and probably just write some answers on your paper, right? Whether you mean to do it in a way that is cheating or not, right? Who knows, right? You might not even realize that's what you're doing. But if you don't genuinely understand and know how to do things, that's what's going to happen in a group. You're just going to write stuff down, and left to your own devices, you won't be able to explain it, which means that you'll do well on, say, the EP, which is the free response packet, but you'll do poorly on the test, right? So I can't emphasize enough. Web assigns are independent. And then even as we go through the year, if you find that group work is something that is actually detrimental to your understanding, then you might need to make the hard choice to work independently on almost everything, right? But that's something that will sort of, play itself out as we go. And if you're not sure where you sit on that spectrum, right, come see me, and we can talk about how you're approaching things, look at your grade, see where you want to be, and see how we can sort of figure out what's going to work best for you, okay? We have multiple choice practice activities on Haiku. These are one of your bonuses that are available for every single test, okay? Note that they may be completed in small groups of 3 people or less, right? And each member needs to contribute to each question, right? Which means that there is no divide and conquer. Everybody looks at every question and you discuss it together, okay? That's what I mean by group work in chemistry. It is never you do the first 5, I'll do the next 5. That's cheating, no question, okay? EPs, so these are your free response packets. I don't know why I called them extra practice packets, and that's just stuck. And they may be, again, completed in small groups. Each member should contribute to each question, again, right? So again, everything in chemistry, when we say group work, means that everybody contributes to everything, okay? And pre-lab, post-labs, right? Obviously, you'll have whoever is your lab partner or your lab group, and that's who you can work with. If you are going to get a tutor, right, they may not provide assistance on any graded assignments, right? They can go over them after you've done them, right? So if you are going to use a tutor and you are looking for what to work on with them, right, see me and we can talk about what you guys could work on together that would be helpful and doesn't violate the honor code. All right, this is your AP Chem syllabus. Thank you for listening. Be good, and I will see you soon. Bye.